In my last video, I told you that I had a problem. I've been 27 years in the mortgage business, and a large number of people in my life, or in my orbit at least, don't really know what I do for a living, don't know how I can help them. I told you why it was that I started this channel and what I'm here to do. In this video, I want to share with you a little bit about how I got into this business, my origin story, my why I do this after all of these years, after everything that the market has thrown at me, having gone through the housing crisis, the Great Recession, having survived COVID and all of that. So it's been a long journey. It's been a long way to go. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, what is it that got me into this business and what keeps me in the business. And it all starts with the day many, many years ago that my wife and I decided to buy our own home. I was young. I thought I was pretty smart. I had this new thing called the internet, and I went out and decided to educate myself on the process of buying a home. And armed with all of this great knowledge, I figured I could pull this off without really needing a lot of help or advice. Okay, so I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I was pretty well educated. Turns out I had no idea what I was doing. I bought a home from a for sale by owner. I bought without an agent. And that meant a couple of things. Number one, it meant that I didn't have anyone representing my interest in the transaction. So that was the first thing. The second thing is that I didn't have anyone to give me advice or recommendations on who to go to for some essential services that I needed, like, for instance, mortgage financing. You'll have to remember that this is before mortgage companies had websites, so Google search wasn't a thing. I did what everybody else did back at that time. I got the yellow pages, and I flipped through the yellow pages until I found an ad that looked promising, and I picked up the phone and I gave a call. I chose unwisely. My loan officer, he talked a really good game. He was neither competent nor honest. He was something called a subprime mortgage broker. I didn't really know what that was. I was not a subprime borrower. I didn't know that either, and I didn't know the distinction. So he told me I was approved. I wasn't. He told me I was cleared to close. I wasn't. The day before our scheduled closing, when everything fell apart, he disappeared. He turned off his phone. He stopped taking my calls. I had to get in my car and drive to his office and confront his manager in order to get things escalated. Eventually, it worked out. We closed. I almost lost the house, but we closed 2 weeks late. When the loan documents showed up at the closing table, they were for a completely different loan than the one that I had applied for. Higher interest rate, higher fees, an adjustable rate instead of the fixed rate loan that I thought I was getting. So you have to remember this was in 1999. Back then, there weren't any laws or regulations that prevented a lender from sending totally different loan papers to a closing table than the ones that had been disclosed to a buyer. Bait and switch was a thing back then, and that was kind of what was happening to me at the time. Now, the problem was that by the time you're sitting at your closing table and this shock has been dropped in your lap, you really have two choices. You can walk away from the house, or you can just suck it up and sign the papers. We were recently married and needed a place to live. What do you think I did? I signed the papers. Okay. So as I sat at the closing table in the dining room of what was about to become my first home, I made a decision. I made a decision not necessarily about that loan, but I made a decision about my career. I decided that there was no real good reason for someone to ever go through what I and my wife just went through. The home buying process is stressful and complicated enough. It shouldn't feel like a trap. People deserve something better. They deserve to have someone in their corner that's going to show up for them, that's going to take care of their interests, and who won't disappear the day before closing if things get hard. A month later, I was hired as a loan officer for a local mortgage broker. All right, so 1 month after the fact, I had started a career as a loan originator with a mission to help people have a better experience than the one that I had just had. 27 years later, I still think about that closing table. Unfortunately, my experience isn't entirely unique. Circumstances change. The details of the bait and switch that I experienced, fortunately, is against the law now. But the underlying problem still exists. People go into the process of buying, this is one of their largest financial transactions that they go through in their lifetime. And they do it without necessarily having the right information, without the right team, maybe without a team at all. And, they expose themselves to frustrations, risks, and costly mistakes. Some of those mistakes are obvious. Some of them are not. What they all have in common is that just about every mistake that you can make when buying a home is avoidable if you have the right person to talk to and to guide you through the process. That's what I've spent my career doing. Sitting down with first-time buyers, some of them terrified, some of them overconfident, usually somewhere in between. So we sit down and we walk them through the process. We explain things to them that no one took the time to explain. And we help them to avoid the mistakes that I made and countless other mistakes that I've watched other people make over the years. Buying your first home is exciting. It's a milestone in most people's lives. It should be a memory that you are able to carry with pride for the remainder of your life and look back on fondly, not something that keeps you up at night and haunts your nightmares. So I'm committed to giving every buyer an amazing experience through that process and helping them avoid all of the pain that can be avoided. It also happens to be one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel. The conversations that I wish I would have allowed myself to have back, in 1999, those are conversations that are valuable today, and I am here to help as many people as possible to get through this without the pain and suffering that I experienced. In the videos ahead, I'm going to talk a little bit about the home buying process from the inside, what it looks like, what the process is, step by step. How do lenders actually look at your application? What are the loan programs that are available to you that maybe you didn't know about that can help you qualify where you thought that was not even a possibility? We're gonna make the financial case for owning a home and why the math, buying versus rent, almost always comes down on the same side of that equation. All of this is stuff that I wish someone had put in front of me all those many years ago before I picked up that Yellow Pages and made that phone call. So speaking of which, I also wrote a book. It's called You Can Do This, the No BS Guide to Financing Your First Home. I am giving the book away for free. It is a start to finish guide of how do you get pre-approved, how do you get through the loan underwriting process, how do you get to the closing table, what happens after closing. It is written in plain language, no BS, no mortgage speak, and it is available to you for free. Just click the link in the description below the video and I'll go ahead and send it to you. Okay, I'm Stan Brusoski. I'll talk to you soon.